Hello. So today I'm just doing a quick review of the Braun ExactFit 5 Connect blood pressure monitor. This is a blood pressure monitor that I purchased almost 10 months ago, and I thought I'll just give it a quick review in terms of my experience with this blood pressure monitor. It comes obviously with the blood pressure monitor, and it also comes with two armbands, one small one and one large one. So what the manufacturer recognizes is the fact that our arms vary in size, so you can actually use whatever armband that suits the size of your arm, which is quite useful. And then it comes also with a travel pouch in which you can put your blood pressure monitor and the armband. Very handy for when you're traveling. And then we also have a user manual. So the blood pressure monitor itself has Bluetooth Connect, which means that you can actually connect to an app via your mobile device, which you will download from the App Store, depending on whether you use an Android phone or an iPhone. And that kind of gives you the ability to be able to store your data on your mobile device, because on this particular device you can only store 60 records per person. So if you have two people using it, you would only be allowed a maximum of 60 records. And what happens is once it's reached 60 records for either person A or B, it would delete the 60th record for a new record to be recorded on this device. So it's best to kind of sync it with your mobile phone if you want a longer history of your blood pressure readings. I have only recently just started syncing it with my mobile phone, and I've had no issues with it at all. When you sync it with your mobile phone, you can actually download the data as an HTML file or as a CSV file, which you can upload to Excel and delete whatever records or manipulate whatever records that you want to. So that is quite handy. As I said before, the device enables two people to use it. Here you have person A and person B, and you can both store your blood pressure readings on a daily basis. You have an average button here which records an average of the last 3 readings taken by an individual. You have the memory button, which you can use to recall past blood pressure readings. Then the 2 buttons here is used to set the date and the time. So the blue button is the power button, and on this device you have the ability to be able to monitor irregular heartbeats. So if you have irregular heartbeats, this blood pressure monitor will tell you. I'm not sure how it works, but it would alert you, because I don't have an irregular heartbeat, so I've never experienced that feature kicking before. But it does have a feature that would monitor irregular heartbeats, and it would warn you when you're taking your blood pressure reading. What I also like about the device is that it has an indicator here, which is called the WHO indicator, or the World Health Organization indicator. And when you take your blood pressure reading, it will tell you what zone that you fall into. So the ideal zone will be the green zone. I normally fall into the yellow zone most of the times anyway. But the orange zone is where you don't want to be constantly, or you don't actually want to be in the red zone at all. So what the manual says is if your blood pressure reading is about 180 over 110, then you should consult with your doctor immediately. so that they can look into what the issues may be. So this is a great piece of equipment. I think compared to the previous blood pressure monitor that I had, that one used to give a very tight squeeze on my arm, and sometimes it can be quite painful. But I've never experienced that particular event with this blood pressure monitor. It's actually very comfortable in terms of when it starts squeezing on your arms. Also, when you upload data to your mobile phone, you can see the data in more detail. So I would show you that later, but all I can say is it's a great piece of equipment. I would recommend it. I think the only concern that I have with this piece of kit is the fact that I'm not sure how accurate it is. And for me to be able to gauge the accuracy of this piece of equipment, I would have to take my blood pressure reading on several other blood pressure monitoring devices. But I think with the reading that it gives me, I'm quite okay with it. I don't think it's going to be massively off any fully calibrated piece of equipment, and therefore I would recommend it. I don't see any issues with it. It's comfortable and it works as it's supposed to work. Also, what I would say is that the battery consumption is quite high compared to the previous one that I had. I realized that I'm having to change the battery a lot more often compared to the previous blood pressure monitor that I had. So let's now look at the app itself. And the app gives you the ability to be able to monitor trends when it comes to your blood pressure reading. And on the app itself, you're able to view your data in list mode. You can also view it in graph mode, and you can view it in calendar mode. But under the calendar mode, you can actually view the data using a 7-day average, a 14-day average, or a 30-day average. Also within the app too, you can record things like the amount of exercise you've done, the amount of sleep that you've got, and the food that you've eaten. I tend not to record anything else on the app, except for the fact that it just keeps a record of my blood pressure readings, because I have a smartwatch that keeps a record of all of that, apart from my blood pressure reading. And on the market at the moment, there are very limited smartwatches that can take accurate blood pressure readings. So I think for now, I would just stick with a blood pressure monitor. And I think at the moment, Omron have a smartwatch that takes blood pressure reading. I don't know how good it is, but I've used one in the past that was way off. This is not Omron. That was way off when it came to reading, because it always told me that my blood pressure reading was under 120/80, and I knew for sure that that wasn't my daily average. So I had to send the watch back. So really be careful when you're are going to spend a lot of money to buy a smartwatch that actually reads your blood pressure, because it might not be as accurate as you think. And even if you want to try it, I think you should still use your blood pressure monitor as a comparison. If there is a huge difference between both, then I would most certainly say that the smartwatch reading your blood pressure is actually the wrong one, and therefore you should return it. But I have no doubt that as technology continues to improve, we would have smartwatches that would have accurate readings to what our blood pressure monitors currently do. So I hope you found this information useful. If you have any questions about the Braun ExactFit 5 Connect blood pressure monitor, drop me a question, drop me a comment. If you've enjoyed this review, give it a thumbs up. And if you are coming across this channel for the first time, please subscribe, because I think there's a common interest between you and I. So I'll speak to you later in the next video. Take care.